It begins today, okay? And I really want you guys to, I'm going to say this at the beginning and we're going to say it all year long. You have to trust the process. It is a marathon. Those of you that have played, it is not a sprint. Okay, there's going to be days where we have incredible practices and days where we're, walking out of here like, oh, we could have done better. You have to trust the process. Okay? What I can promise you is that every day we will get better. I do think in the scope of sports and team leadership is very fluid. I don't think it's a, this is our leader, this is our, and this is our followers. Like, I don't think that's how it works. For long-term success, I think everybody has to take a role in leading. And that's how I look at it. I don't think, I think you lead by kind of your personality, by who you are. How you are is going to certainly influence the type of leader you are. But, if you're the hardest worker on the team, but you're kind of maybe you're shy or you're not a real vocal person, you can still lead. And so I think it's very fluid. I think everybody has to, I think the important thing with the team dynamic is that everybody feels like they have value in terms of how they can help lead this team. I think the key as a coach is that if I can get 13, 15 women all pointing in the same direction, how different they all are, how unique they all are, if they're all pointing in the same direction and they're all leading that way, then we're going to do great things. I think true leaders, there's some humility involved. Like you can't think that you have all the answers all the time. You have to be able to say, I messed up to be a leader. I think you have to be able to ask for help to be a leader. I think you have to be confident in who you are to be a leader. But all those things are kind of independent of, I'm either a starter or I'm a bench player or I'm the leading scorer or I never play a minute. You can do all those things regardless of what your role is on the team. I think that's the beauty of sports, right? I think college sports, especially at the highest level of collegiate sports in the Pac-12, you're going to get pushed physically and mentally in a way that you wouldn't if you were, involved in a, sorority on campus or something that isn't maybe as competitive, as intense, and there's something to it. And I think it's kind of the iron sharpens iron kind of thing, and that we as coaches and the athletes that we get to, we're really developing young people, and that's one of the really cool things. And as I go out, and I'm talking to people or you meet people at the community, they want to know if we have any graduating seniors. Hey, do you have any seniors out there? I have got this job opportunity, this, because it's like we know these are people that have leadership skills. They know they're competitive human beings by nature. So I certainly think leadership is a big term, but I think college athletics is a thing that really develops character, and leadership is one of those character traits that it develops, and as a coach, that's something I take seriously. Well, coaching is leadership. That's really what it is, and it's managing people. It rarely does it come down to, the out-of-bounds play that I ran is why we won a game or had a good year. It really is leadership. That is what coaching is, and it's managing people and getting people that, I think in a sentence, it's getting people to do something that maybe they didn't know they could do or think about doing. If I can get players to do things they've never done before or get a team to do something they never thought possible, then that's what leadership is to me. I think though, for me it's kind of the way I look at it is it's kind of a yin-yang kind of thing where I think I have to be as a leader really confident, and I have to be confident in who I am and how I do things, but I have to have humility as well. So I have to be able to admit when I mess up. I've got to be consistent in who I am, how I react to things. And so I think those two things are very critical, and they've kind of got to be in balance, if that makes sense, for me. But for me, that's kind of what leadership has been. But this job, it's 90% leadership. I can't think of a situation where as a leader, it changed the trajectory of my path. But I do think that history is full. That's what history is leaders either making or not making the tough decisions, right? I think leaders make tough decisions. You have to do it. And so I've learned, I'm a huge nerd. I read all the time. History books and just, the stories of people. I think that's what history is. And you can learn a lot from presidents and sports stories and all sorts of stuff, just people willing to make those hard decisions. So that's where I've learned the most. I've certainly learned by messing up. I'll be the first to admit that. I've made a lot of mistakes. and I'm not afraid to admit that. And I just do my best to try to learn from them and say, okay, wow, that was not very good. That was not smart. I need to do that differently next time. And I've been my own best teacher by just not doing things right all the time. I once got a chance, I was fortunate I get a chance to kind of hang out with Condoleezza Rice one time. I know. It's called Right Place, Right Time. It's not like she sought me out, but I happened to be there and got to have lunch with her. And she said something profound that I'll never forget. She said, you can look up to people and have mentors. You need mentors, but don't wait for mentors to look like you. She said, if I was waiting for a mentor to look like me, an African-American woman to be Secretary of the State to model my life after, I'd never would have been that, right? And so same thing for me. When I was growing up, there wasn't a lot of female Division I coaches that I could say, I want to be like her when I was a little kid. So I didn't have that, so to speak, but as I've grown up and matured and been in this profession, there's certainly been people that have come alongside me that have mentored me. I think that's a really big thing for leadership, and I would give that advice, is get mentors. And again, they don't have to look like you, they don't even have to be in your profession, but people that can challenge you and you can be honest with, that can really help develop you. So I've learned from my mentors, and I've learned a lot, again, just from reading and learning from the mistakes and triumphs of others in the history books. I think for success in my profession, I can't speak for others' profession, a lot of it is timing and kind of, and you have to be tough and tough-skinned in this profession. You got to go at it, and you're going to fail, and you're going to get told no, and you're going to lose, and you're going to have really, times where I lay in bed and stare at the ceiling and think, what am I doing? As much as success as I've had, there's just as much where you question if you're doing it right, that's just part of anything. I tell my team all the time, anything great is really hard. It's really, really hard. And that goes for me too. So anything that, anywhere I've gotten or any success, as I look in, I think, well, I guess, I've done okay. It's been hard. It's been challenging, but it's been great. And the reward is in the challenge. I've learned, this is my 14th year as a head coach, and so I've been blessed to have the opportunity to learn by doing, and learn by messing up, and learn by saying, wow, that was really not very bright. But I really, really, really can't emphasize enough how much I believe in the power of confidence. Like, I believe so much in, especially when we're talking about sports, but I think it's completely, translatable to life, and especially for women. I think we lack confidence sometimes, just intrinsically, and I can't tell you how much I believe in the power of it. So if a player thinks she's a great shooter and she believes she's a great shooter, I guarantee you she's going to shoot better than if she wasn't sure. And so I think my job is not to blow sunshine at them and tell them how great they are at something if they're not. But if they are good at something, let them know and let them really hang their hat on that. And then if we've got some weaknesses, let's work on those. But people aren't dumb. I don't need, if a kid misses a free throw or a layup, I don't need to say, you just missed that. They know, right? So, I think in life too, it's just kind of that, and this is the term we use all the time with our team, is next play. Next play. So you mess up, next play. You miss something, next play, next play. And if you watch, that's what I'll shout a lot, is just next play. I think in life too, if we're always looking backwards, we're not going to get too far forward. So I just really believe in the positive vibe. I really do, as cheesy as that sounds. But that said, you can ask the players too. I'll be honest with them. And after games, we'll talk. We don't meet after games. Because I just don't want, games are so emotional. And if you win, you can win on a last second shot and be bouncing off the walls and, go in the locker room and talk about how awesome we played and that was amazing. And then you watch the tape and it's like, gosh, we didn't play very well. And that's okay. But the damaging part is when we miss on a last second, or we lose on a last second shot. I go in and I say something, you didn't box out, that's why we lost. And then I go back in the tape, and no, you did box out. The kid just made a play. But I can't take back what I said to you. And then you're devastated because you think you lost the game for us. So I just have found that take the emotion out of a game when you discuss it, and it really is a little easier to be objective. But again, just staying positive, I think you can get through a lot of lot of stuff, and stay positive so that you can remain confident. I mean, behind the scenes stuff, we would show video clips after games of the bench acting like just to affirm that behavior. Like, look how awesome this is. It's fun to be a part of that. Let's have some. We're here to get a degree. We're here to compete and win, but let's have some fun doing it. The key is that if my players feel comfortable around me and feel comfortable around our staff, being that they can be themselves and relax, then that vibe kind of creates that energy that I think people see on the bench, that it's they're not uptight. And that has to start from me. Like I tell my players and I tell recruits and stuff, I just don't take myself too seriously. I just don't. Like, I'm not that cool. Like, it's just, what you see is what you get. And so I think that creates just kind of a mode of like, no one takes themselves too seriously, and let's have some fun and joke around. But when the ball goes up in the air, I'm as competitive as they come. And I want to win and I want to beat you and all of that. But at the end of the day, let's enjoy what we're doing. Be confident. You've trained yourself. You've surrounded yourself. You've got a great education. You've surrounded yourself with people that probably have challenged your leadership with this organization and all that kind of stuff. You've learned what you can learn. So be confident. Have a humble spirit to you, though. Ask questions. Don't be afraid to admit when you mess up. And I always say, value add where you are. Bring value. Do something different. Separate yourself. If you're a entry-level basketball coach, do something different that other entry-level basketball coaches don't do. Use your brain. Create something that's unique. Separate yourself in terms of that people are looking at you and thinking, wow, that person's got something different to them. But again, be confident, be humble, ask questions, and then I would lastly say get some mentors. Find people, and again, they don't have to look like you, talk like you, be like you, but a couple people that can challenge you and you can bounce ideas off and that you'll really listen to. But it's an exciting time in your life to be kind of springboarding towards what you're headed towards, and I would just say be confident and be humble.
Great job today. Great job. Proud of you. Keep it up. Team, 1, 2, 3. Team.